Welcome again. Welcome to this amazing night. It's the day of elevation of Rachel the Matriarch. And in the Kabbalah Center, it's considered a holiday. It's not just any regular day, but it's actually a day that we celebrate. We make a study, a meal. We connect, ask for guidance, ask for assistance from Rachel. We want to really experience this day because this day is very unique. And it's something that was started by our teachers, Rob and Karen. And they, ironically, the first Kabbalah Center was actually opened on today. The center in Queens, the first, what was called the Rav's house, was actually first started the first time that the center, had an event or moved in there was today, was on the day of elevation of Rachel the Matriarch. And one thing we want to remember is that this is not a historical event that we're connecting to, which it also is. Today started the 11th of Cheshvan, and this is the actual day that Rachel both passed and was born. She was a twin. Her twin was Leah, and they represent something very unique. First of all, they're women, right? And we usually in our days of elevation, we don't necessarily have so many women that we connect to, right? But one second. Sorry, what did I just do? Sorry, guys. One second. Apologies. Okay. Okay, so yes, so it's very unique that usually, the days of elevation and Kabbalists we know are mostly men, and there's very few women. And Rachel is in line with, one second. So Rachel is in line with the matriarchs. The first matriarch that we know is Sarah. Then we have Rivka. Then Rachel and Leah. And there's, a few other ones. But most importantly, we don't necessarily make any special connections besides the one of night that connects us to Rachel. So what's so unique about Rachel, right? And to give you a little bit of a background, the biblical story, the 1% story, it's also really interesting. That gives you a little bit more appreciation. So first of all, Rachel was a Scorpio. Scorpio is one of the signs that it actually has an influence on the gender of an individual. So a woman Scorpio is a little bit tougher tikkun, slightly. It doesn't mean it is. It might indicate that it's a little bit of a harder tikkun because the dark attributes of Scorpio are also dark attributes that women have. Jealousy, possessiveness, not letting go, doubt, and always being manipulative in a very quiet way. So those are negative sides of Scorpios. It doesn't mean all Scorpios are like that. It's the negative attributes of Scorpios. And also negative side of women is that also. Yes, like trying to manipulate, trying to control, etc. Not such a good attribute for any of us, but especially, obviously, for women. So matriarchs and patriarchs, the reason why they're so special and so powerful is they created something new on the planet. Like, for example, Abraham was the first person that really brought in the idea of mercy, the oneness of the creator, the oneness of the universe, but also mercy and being kind and being generous. That was not something that was existing on the planet before. Before that, it was more animalistic. Or everyone for his own. We need to have power. We need to have control. We need to have, dominance, etc. There was no such thing as being generous or kind, etc. It was not like a thing you would strive for. And then also his wife Sarah, right? So the two of them, they perfected the right column, or the Sphira of Chesed. They were basically physical embodiment of the Sphira of Chesed. Meaning before that, the Sphira of Chesed was not present in our physical world. It wasn't accessible. It was just not something that existed. So it was them that started to break the limitations and actually broadcast and create this energy on our planet, which is very unique. Then came his son Isaac with his wife Rebecca or Rivka, that brought in the balance of Gvura, or boundaries, setting boundaries, setting being able to say no. So, which was a huge restriction because Isaac was brought up in a house of kindness, mercy, and generosity. So for him to learn to create boundaries was a very big restriction. Okay, but it didn't exist before Isaac. Isaac and Rebecca were the ones that channeled this energy to our planet. And then he's called the perfected patriarch, Jacob, the son of Isaac and Rebecca, a twin, right? They had twins. They had Esau and Jacob. And Esau came out first. He was, the physical firstborn, and Yaakov came after. And he's considered the perfected because he channeled the balance, the perfect harmony of right and left, of chesed and gvura, of sharing and receiving. He is the perfected patriarch. And what he did with everything that's written that he did in his life, he was basically channeling this into our physical world. And he did it, he lived a very long life. Most of the Torah portions of patriarchs are dedicated to him, about his kids, about his life, etc. And it's really interesting. And there's something also very interesting. He actually had two wives, Rachel and Leah. And the way that happened is also very interesting. It wasn't something that was planned, but when Jacob ran away from his parents, he ran away from his brother, not from his parents' house, but I'm not going to go into all the details, but he basically runs to his uncle, Rivka's brother, whose name was Lavan, who was one of the biggest wizards and magicians and darkest lords of this world. And it was very ironic because his name was Lavan, which actually means white, but he was completely dark on the inside. So he goes to his house. When Lavan sees Jacob, he's like perfect, another bait to kill and to do something, to steal something from him. And basically he stays at his house for 20 years. And in these 20 years, he works for his both wives, which are Rachel and Leah, and for all his kids, and a huge amount of wealth that he gets from Lavan. Now, when Jacob sees Rachel, he instantly falls in love. And it's one of the instances in the Torah that it says that they loved each other. Love is not a very common word in the Bible, in the Torah, but it actually is used for their relationship towards each other. So one thing that's being channeled tonight is the true energy of soulmates, is the real true energy of soulmates. Because when Jacob saw Rachel, he instantly fell in love with her. He instantly went to Lavan and said, I would love to marry Rachel. What would it take? And Lavan says, well, instead of, it's almost his family, but of course him being a trickster, a very trickery individual, he instantly says, well, you're going to have to work for her, etc. So he says you need to work for her for 7 years, but you can marry her, but you will have to work for her 7 years. And that's what happens. When the wedding comes, Rachel and Jacob both knew that Lavan is not somebody to be trusted, and she could easily be switched with someone. So they set up certain signs that Rachel will give to Jacob to know that it's actually her. The night of the wedding comes, And of course, what does Lavan do? Lavan tricks and wants to trick Jacob. And instead of giving her Rachel, he covers Leah and gives her as Rachel. When Rachel is aware of this, she knows that she can't stop it. And she knows that if she's not going to tell the signs that Jacob knows, it's going to embarrass her, embarrass Leah. So she does one of the first acts of total, almost sacrifice of her, and becomes completely in a mode of mercy, and actually tells Leah the signs that she's supposed to do in order for Jacob to know that it's her. So the wedding actually happens, and Jacob only finds out after because Rachel gives him because Rachel gave the signs to Leah. Leah did the signs to Jacob, so there was absolutely no doubt that it's actually Rachel. And it only found out the next day, the next morning, Jacob finds out that it's actually Rachel's twin, Leah. So that was one of the first acts. What happens afterwards is, of course, Jacob goes to Lavan, and Lavan says, "Oh no, that's just our custom. I forgot to tell you. I can't give away the young daughter before the older one gets married. So it's just a custom. You should have known. It's your fault. A perfect toxic behavior." So tries to manipulate control, and Jacob, knowing that he can't go into a fight with him directly, he says, "Okay, let me have Rachel also. I'll work for her." So he works 14 years to have both Leah and Rachel as his wives. So that's one of the first instances of where Rachel completely overcomes her nature, right? Being a woman, being a Scorpio, being somebody who wants to obviously have a man for herself, she completely sacrifices all of that for her sister and says, "You know what? I'm going to sacrifice and I'm not going to embarrass my sister." So one thing that we can ask Rachel to receive tonight is to have a perfected desire for the sake of sharing, not just desire for me, but actually that includes other people as well, that is more inclusive, that's not excluding other people. It's not completely selfish. You want to be selfish, but actually what the Rav teaches is that selfish actually means you include everyone. When you include everyone, that is true selfishness. Not when you totally exclude everyone and it's all for me and everyone else can go and good luck to them. No, you don't want to do that. That creates separation, because in ultimate truth, we're all one. So in ultimate truth, when we all receive, we're all going to be happier. It's better for all of us. So the first act that Rachel did, and this tremendous act of sharing, this huge transformation of her desire, and completely selfless, to say, "You know what, I'll do that." Now, for women, even though women are the channels of kindness, compassion, and care, it's actually when it's something very personal, when it's your child or your mate or etc., it becomes very different. So for a woman to actually elevate, it becomes a whole different story. And the reason why, one of the reasons why Rachel got the term matriarch is because she channels this ability for all women, meaning she's one of the conduits that allows women to go beyond and above their nature. Meaning that's why, for example, the Rav loved to give the name Rachel in the center, is because Rachel is a completely elevated energy, completely elevated woman, where she functions not just for herself, but also for the entire world. So that's one. Now, there's many other instances, and one of the things that you can watch on Kabbalah.com, and it's very powerful, that the Rav mentions is, Jacob needed to, in general, actually, this is very interesting, but in general, there had to be born from one of the patriarchs 12 sons. And the reason why it had to happen is because this world is limited and dominated by astrology, right? We all know the astrological signs, the 12 signs. We know the solar system, the planets in the solar system. And Kabbalah says those are very powerful influences. They're not to be played with. It's not just, you're born in Gemini, that's it, or you're born in Leo, etc. It's not that easy. Kabbalists say that in order for humanity to have an ability to go beyond, there had to be born 12 sons or the 12 tribes. And they were conduits to go above the limitations of the zodiac, the limitations of physical reactive reality, where you weren't just locked into the matrix, to go above the matrix. Now, it was actually Isaac who could have been, Isaac and Rebecca, who could have been the first ones to have 12 sons, but it didn't happen. Not for this night study. For another time, we're gonna study it. But it was Jacob who was meant to have that. Now, it was Jacob who was gonna channel the 12 signs, the 12 tribes, and he did. He successfully did it through his two direct wives, Rachel and Leah, and through their concubines, which were Zilpah and Bilhah. So altogether, they have 12 signs, 13 kids in total, one daughter, because Leah also did something very went out of her nature, and when she found out that she's pregnant, she prayed for a girl because she wanted Rachel to also have sons. And Rachel has two very special sons. Leah had Reuben, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Asher, etc. You can look it up. But Rachel had two very special sons. One was Yosef, and the moment Joseph is born, Yaakov knows that he's able to leave Lavan's house. That was the indication, because Yosef is one of the also patriarchs. So when Yaakov knew that a patriarch is born to him, he knew that it's time for him to depart from Lavan's house. And then there's another story, which is also very interesting, but okay, not to go into it. It's from the Midrash, about how Lavan, pursues Jacob, and he tells him, "How dare you leave me? These are my sons. Your grandkids are actually my grandkids. Don't you dare take them. They belong to me. Everything that you have belongs to me." And actually, it's one of the instances that the Creator himself came to Lavan in a dream and told him, "Don't you dare do anything to Jacob. Don't try to take anything from him. He's protected by me. It's going to cause you a lot of trouble." So the Creator protected Yaakov. Now, also what happens to Yaakov is he goes through a huge spiritual transformation, and he does a name change. He battles with his Satan directly, and he receives a new name, Israel. And after this incident, Rachel becomes pregnant again, and she has another son. And the moment he's born, she calls him Ben Oni, which means the son of my pains, because as she's giving birth to him, she actually realizes that she's about to pass, that she's not going to be able to survive the birth of her second son. And there's a very interesting video, and I recommend to watch it, from the Rav explaining it, that it says that she died twice. In the Zohar, it says. And the reason why it says that is because she actually completed her tikkun in that moment. She completely completed her tikkun. That's why she's considered a righteous individual, matriarch, because she completed her tikkun fully. And what happens is also Jacob does a final correction for her, and he renames the son, instead of Benoni, to Binyamin, the son of the right. Meaning the right column. And of course, Rachel sadly passes away, but she leaves, our world with two huge channels and conduits of light. Benjamin, on whose piece of land the temple was built, and Yosef HaTzadik, who is basically the conduit of redemption, the conduit of finishing of a tikkun, etc. So she left behind a huge legacy, a very, very big legacy. But that's more on the kind of like interesting and cute story. But what else? Why is Rachel so special? Why do we, for example, if you know the red string that we wear, the place where we take it to and charge it is in the tomb of Rachel, right? So let me just show you. I made a little PowerPoint. that we can see. So this is, for example, okay, so if you've been there, it's very special. If you haven't, I highly recommend to go on the next Israel trip to experience it. This is the place where Rachel is. And it's also very special that she was not buried and she's not taken to the tomb of the patriarchs, right? Which is the Machpelah, where Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Rivka, Yaakov, and Leah are buried. She's buried independently in a place where exactly where she passed. And this is the place, this is one of the shots. It's a very special place, a lot of energy there. And the red string is actually taken there. Now it's taken to two places, which is amazing. Now it's taken to the tomb of Rachel. So huge amounts of red string is tied around her tomb. And the Ana B'Koach is recited, and it's charged by our teachers and students to have that energy. It's also taken to the resting place of the Rav and Karen now. So it's charged in both places. But what's so special, and why the Rav makes such an emphasis, and why is she given so much place in the Zohar, in the writings of the Ari, in so many places? She's given a lot of emphasis. She's also channel and conduit of the physical world, right? Because if you see here, one second. So if you see here, it's very simple, but Rachel and Yaakov represent the Malchut level, right? They represent the lower triad. And Rachel is actually the representation of the physical world. And actually, the Rav says one of the reasons why we always want to connect to her today is because other righteous, they come into, so if this is they kind of come, they more operate in the Zeir Anpin area, and they kind of pop into Malchut, right? Malchut is our 1% reality. Rachel is the 1% reality. The reason why Jacob was able to accomplish so much and kind of marry Rachel is because he completely transformed Malchut in his existence. Meaning Satan had no place in his physical reality. Satan had no place in his consciousness. Satan had no place, okay? And that's what Rachel means. Rachel means the perfected Malchut, completely perfected Malchut. Now, those are also very powerful points, but the really, really amazing point, and when I learned this, I was so blown away by this. I was just amazed at really the power of this. And it starts with a story of, if you heard, there's a day called Tisha B'Av, which is 9th of Av, where ironically, and obviously it's not a coincidence, but both the first and the second temple are both destroyed on exactly that Kabbalistic day, right? So, yes, it's being recorded, I'm just answering. So what's so special? How is Rachel connected to this, right? How is Rachel connected to this, and what's so special about Rachel? So, and this is taken from the Midrash and the Zohar, etc., and it's basically an account of what starts to happen. And on Tisha B'Av, what happened is, it wasn't even the fault of Romans, but the temple starts to burn. But the city of Jerusalem, it says it was flooded with blood. There was so much carnage, and there was so much murder in the city that it was a massacre, and on Tisha B'Av. So the temple was being destroyed, and basically people were it was a horrendous scene. And the Zohar switches from explaining this, and all of a sudden starts to recount what's happening in the upper worlds. And what's starting to happen in the upper worlds is the patriarchs are actually waking up. They're usually most of the time they're asleep, because they know that they channeled so much light and so much energy, they don't necessarily get involved, let's say, right? So they don't necessarily will come in. That's why the Rav said that we don't necessarily meditate when we do the prayers, we connect, but we don't meditate, on Abraham so much during our prayers, right? We connect in the morning to Abraham because he's the conduit. We just make a big, quick connection. But it's not like if you've ever heard of our prayers or services, we mention Joseph the Righteous, I don't know, probably 500 times, right? To meditate at his place, the courtyard of Aria, etc. So they're most of the time they're asleep, and it says that they're asleep, and we actually one of the energies that we want to do is we kind of do want to wake them up because they can bring Mashiach. But what starts to happen is as the whole scene of Tisha B'Av is happening, both in the physical world in Jerusalem, the upper worlds, the patriarchs are waking up. And it's very rare. That kind of a catastrophic event is required for them to wake up. And they actually go and start addressing the Creator, and they start saying, Creator, why is this happening? How are you allowing for this to happen, for this destruction, for this? It was almost very close that the world can be finished, because if the temple would be fully destroyed and if that just kept on going, the world would be in total destruction. So Abraham comes with Sarah, and they plead to the Creator and say, Creator, stop this. Isaac and Rivka, Yaakov and Leah, they all come. Moses and Aaron, they all come and start pleading to the Creator, begging him to make this stop. And the Creator says, you know what? I'm very sorry, guys, but there's a certain system in place. There is a system which we learn in Kabbalah, which is bread of shame, which is you create your own reality. And you told the vessel, the humanity told the Creator not to get involved because we want to earn it all. And because there is no consciousness, there is no mercy, there is no righteousness, there is no transformation, there is none of that existing on the planet, I have no ability to influence this. And when the Creator says it, because he basically says that it would be total bread of shame for them, again, for me to interfere, all the patriarchs and matriarchs, they actually start to retreat, and they agree with the Creator, and they say, you know what, he's right. That's what the whole purpose of creation is for people to change. Nobody's doing it, and this is cause and effect. This is what cause and effect means. You do something negative, you get a hit back. And that's how it should operate, and that's what it is. And we're in no place to change it, and no one can change it, and we have no reason to change it even. That's how it should be. And then comes Rachel, it says. And Rachel says, she comes to the Creator and she says, you're stopping this right now, and I'm not going anywhere until you do it. I don't care what the story of creation is. I don't care about cause and effect. I don't care about who's right. I don't care what they're doing. I'm demanding and ordering you to stop this. And it says, Rachel's command to the Creator caused the bloodshed to stop. So the only reason why the destruction of Jerusalem stopped is because Rachel said, I don't care about cause and effect. I don't care about who did what. I don't want this to be in the world, and that's it. We're not going to have this in the world. And it was this audacious, merciful, kind, and outrageous almost behavior from Rachel that made the whole upper worlds tremble. And she forced the force of the Creator, which is called Zeir Anpin, to flood into Jerusalem and to make this whole scene stop. Now that's very special, right? So it's not, imagine Abraham, a giant, right? The Zohar says he was basically God manifested, because he was half human, half Hesed. Isaac, same, half human, half Gvura. Jacob, no one could do it because they all agreed with the system. Rachel said, I don't care. It's not about her desire for mercy, for change, for transformation, for kindness, for her love for her children was so strong she could care less about what the system is. She didn't care about what the right thing is. She didn't care about what the spiritual law says. She said, no, it's not happening. We're stopping it, and I'm forcing you to stop it. This is the energy of the red string. This is the energy of tonight. This is the energy of Rachel the Matriarch. She does not take no for an answer. Now, more practically, when you think about this, it's actually obviously it's very much connected to the center and Karen Berg, who I'm not sure how many of you had personal contact, but Karen is that audacious individual who didn't take no for an answer, right? When the Rav said, if we're going to start spreading Kabbalah to everyone, they're going to kill us, Karen said, at least we'll die for a good cause, right? We'll die for a good reason. How can you hold the cure to cancer, right? And say, oh, if I let it out, they're going to kill us. No, it's almost an obligation. So first is to understand that it's in our hands to change everything, not to take a no for an answer, not to allow and not to just agree and be like, oh, this is just how it is. This is just how the world is. This is just how I am. This is just how, this is who and how I am, and that's it. There's no way to change it. Rachel said no. She said no, we're changing destinies. Changing tracks, changing realities to a better one. Don't care if people deserve it or don't deserve it. That's why she's such a powerful conduit, and that's why we want to wear the red string, because the string is imbued with that energy of not taking the no for an answer, of being audacious, of pushing like a trailblazer, just pushing in a tractor, just pushing through, not letting anything stop you. That's the energy that she represents. That's the energy we want to ask her to bless and imbue us with, is to have this mindset of not even seeing the no or stop as a sign in our life, to completely push, continuously push, without having even the benefit of the doubt that it's not going to happen. That's how Rav and Karen, but specifically Karen, operated. Karen could care less what's happening. We have a mission to bring Kabbalah to the world, and we're doing it. I don't care what it says. I don't care what's happening. We're continuously doing it. We're being it, even not just doing it, but being it, being this energy. So that's one of the main secrets of Rachel. To take it a little bit deeper, and if you want even a deeper explanation of it, and more technical terms, is there is such a concept in Kabbalah which means a decree. Right? And decree, it means, you have a certain mindset. Your life is created by your points of view, right? And you have subconscious points of view. And if you have a destructive point of view in your subconscious, until you clear it, things are not going to happen as you want them to. So it's your job to look into the unconscious area of your mind and to discover what is it that's creating this reality. And that's a decree, meaning you were, for example, so stingy in a past lifetime that this lifetime money is always going to be an issue for you. And that's a decree, right? And you're gonna have to find out what the unconscious and subconscious point of view is exactly that you picked up from that lifetime. That I hate money or I hate wealth, and I never want to have money because then they bring pain and separation and sorrow. Or a relationship, in a past lifetime, you were completely uninterested in long-term relationships, living as a free individual, and now all of a sudden you want a relationship. Okay, now you got to let go of commitment issues and being, committed in a relationship, etc. These are just examples, obviously. Or health, etc. Now, there's such a concept that's called a double decree. And double decree is what happened in Jerusalem on Tisha B'Av, for example. It was a double decree. It was complete closure. The children of Israel and humanity up to and leading to Tisha B'Av was so negative, was so self-obsessed, that they decreed that there's going to be a destruction. But not only that, they were so negative that they made a double decree. So it's kind of like you getting, God forbid, you getting a ticket in DMV, but it's also covered by some sort of a decree from DMV from another state that you have to go and you have to talk, etc. So it's a double decree. So you're not even when you're dealing with it, you're not even dealing with the issue. You have to deal with the thing to actually change that to begin with. Now, one of the reasons why Rav and Karen wanted us to constantly wear the red string and be connected to Rachel, and on nights like this, to always make sure we connect to Rachel, the matriarch, and we ask her to be our guide, to be our conduit, and to connect to her light, is because she breaks double decrees. She is the ultimate second degree breaker. Because as much as you want to change, if sometimes things are not changing, it might be that it's something that's called like a double decree. And what Rachel does is she completely breaks the second decree up so you can actually start working on the issue itself. So it's not like you're just shoveling snow and you realize it wasn't even to your house. It was someone else's. But you actually start to shovel and it's leading you to your house. Okay? So the energy that's tonight, the energy of protection, the energy of miracles, the energy of being complete ultimate cause in your life, the energy of not taking no as an answer. Maybe not this way, but not agreeing that it's just not going to work. Okay? Not saying that, oh, the world is just not ready for Kabbalah and we're just going to have to wait. No, saying it will be, what can I do? What can we do to do it? There has to be a way. So when one doesn't way work, it doesn't, when one way doesn't work, you don't stop, put your hands down and say, okay, that's it, we tried. There's no trying. There's no trying in spirituality. When you want to do something, you do it. You be it and you do it. There's no trying. Trying is a fake word. Trying does not exist in spirituality. You cannot try to do something. You're either doing it or you're not. So the energy of Rachel, who's literally in physical world, this is also so exciting that she's literally in our universe today. In our universe. And you want to do as much as possible as you can to connect to that energy. You want to completely experience this energy of being a tractor, breaking through any limitations. Okay, this didn't work. Okay, what else is possible? Okay, this way didn't work. Okay, how else can I do it? Okay, fine, this didn't work also. It doesn't matter. It's not so much even about the end result. It's about the creation of it, the process of it. And that's why also, if you know, there's two Mashiachs. There's Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David. The Mashiach ben Yosef is actually very present in our reality, and he's usually the teacher. He channels consciousness. Mashiach ben David is what we're waiting for, kind of the energy to come, who's actually going to take kind of like into arms and like destroy all negative forces, let's say, in the world. But it's interesting that Joseph, who it's considered the Mashiach ben Yosef, is coming from Joseph, who came from Rachel. So she connects us to a lot of wisdom. So let's do a short meditation, and we're going to connect to everything that we said. I also want to find a section of the Zohar that connects us to it. Second. Okay. So let's do a quick meditation. And I want you to be present, connect with your body, connect with your heart, your abdomen. In the physical body, it's interesting, Rachel represents everything below the diaphragm. Digestive tract, reproductive organs also. And you want to start connecting to Earth, to our planet. And then I want you to start expanding yourself and start to expand and connect to the room you're in, the building, the city, the earth, the solar system. Start expanding more and more and more and more and more until you connect to the entire universe. And very easy, it's very effortless. And then you start to connect to all the upper worlds. You come to a bright light, golden light, a jello-like substance. And then you want to expand out into what's called the Ein Sof, the endless light. And really effortlessly connect to this energy and this light. And we want to start infusing and bringing the energy of Rachel, Chelimenu, and infusing it into our body, infusing it into our consciousness, infusing it with so much strength, so much power, unbreakable will, ability to push, ability to go forward, completely going against Satan's illusions, lies, feelings, thoughts, and emotions that he tries to plant on us. Connecting with almost like complete steel. It doesn't matter what comes towards us. We're connecting to the energy, the light that is within us, the certainty that is within us. The Rav says doubt is a luxury we cannot afford. Doubt is a luxury. Doubting yourself, doubting the Creator, doubting that all ends well and that the Creator is ultimately in charge is a luxury that no one should ever buy into. And we want to start to send this almost web of light, web of certainty, web of strength to the entire planet. Because we're all in this together. And the more light beings are activated, created, and awakened, the more light is generated and brought into this world. So we want to kind of connect to each other, to everyone on the planet, and make kind of an explosion of this energy of Rachel. For all the people in the world that think that it's impossible, all the places in your heart where you think it's impossible in your mind, all the people on the planet that presume that there's no way to change this is not changeable, to destroy and eradicate that consciousness, to completely burn away, destroy all thoughts, feelings, and emotions that tell you it is not possible. It's not going to happen. You can do it. Imagine yourself having a light within you that's like a laser starting to beam into any confusion and any doubt that you have. And beam this light into any doubt, any hatred, any resentment, any jealousy, any confusion that you or anyone on this planet has. Let's send this shock wave of light and energy to the entire universe, reminding every molecule in the universe that its source, its true essence is the light. Its true essence is the light of the Creator. Its true essence is infinite. Its true essence is eternal. Eternal blessing, bliss, joy, happiness, peace, serenity, glory. Let's tell ourselves, the universe, the creator, and the entire planet that we're ready for more of this. We want more of this. Let's co-create a completely new, different, and bright reality for all of us. Okay, everyone. Wow, thank you so much for joining. Actually, don't open your eyes. I will read a section of the Zohar that connects us to both Joseph and Rachel. You can open your eyes. It's just listen to the words. This is portion Balak, volume 19, paragraph 322. Kad segidu kulchun maketiv vetigashna chashvazot chena וילדתכם וישתדכבן. ולבטר כתיב ותיגש גם לאה, וילדך וישתכחו, ואחר ניגש יוסף ורחל. וחי יוסף לבטרך, חי רחל לקמי על ברא, טבע ברא רחימה צדיקה דעלמה. יוסף כיוון דחמד עינה, דחכו רשע מסתכל, כנסין, דחיל על אמה נפיק מאבטרה, ופריש דרועוי וגופי, וכסי אלה בגין דלא ייתן חכו רשע עינו בימי, כמה יתסגה, שיט ימין לכל סתר וחפה, עלה ולא יקיל עינה דחכו רשע להשתלה עלה. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining. If you're watching it after, thank you as well. And wishing you an amazing, amazing connection. All the best. Lots of love.